Landing smoothly, the Galen Guild quickly noticed our boy. One of them, seemingly the leader, looks surprised that this young guy even knows who they are. Lin explains that he had met with Rain on the upper level, which instantly cheered the man up. He pulls Lin into a hearty hug and proudly announces that Rain is his little sister. He introduces himself as Leon, a level 82 Holy Word Knight. The dude was much outgoing than he expected, but Lin doesn't mind it at all. In fact, he promptly introduces himself too. However, the moment he mentions that he's only level 52, the whole group freezes in disbelief. Leon quickly asks how someone so underleveled even made it into the lower level. Scratching the back of his head, Lin remarks that it's a long story. Meanwhile, the rest of the team stares at him like he's some kind of miracle. After all, a level 52 rookie showing up alone in a place like this and surviving is just absolutely wild. Leon exclaims that Lin just made history, noting that in the 2 years they've been down here, they haven't seen anyone below level 70. This kinda explains why they didn't recognize his name at first. Anyway, Lin admits it was all kind of an accident that brought him here. Leon then declares it's lucky that he ended up here and adds, if it had been the giant leaf forest or serpent land, then he'd find himself in a lot of trouble. Leon suggests Lin tag along with them for now. Once they finish their mission, they'll escort him back since Galen has a base nearby with a teleport array. Lin doesn't mention that he's already been to those places. Instead, he figures this is a good chance to learn more about the lower level. Shortly after, while flying towards their destination, Lin seizes the moment to ask Leon about the layout. As it turns out, the lower level is split into 4 continents. Supposedly, they used to be one massive continent until a great war shattered them apart. Now they're separated by the ocean, with the center where the final battle took place, and now known as the Devouring Void. The continent they're on is called the Barbaric Continent, located in the south. After Leon explains the layout of the other continents, Lin asks if he knows where Thunder Burial Canyon is. Leon immediately maps out the best route if he wants to get there. However, Lin would need to cross 2 continents if that's the case. Fortunately, Galen has a teleport array in one of them, which will get him halfway. Unfortunately, the next continent has no such convenience. Leon admits that crossing that sea won't be easy, and he can't guarantee success. However, he had a backup plan, which offered to try and find a team that could take Lin the rest of the way. Lin expresses his thanks and really starts to like this guy. According to everything he's heard, Lin is now at the very southern edge of the lower level, while his destination is all the way north. Because of that, he just can't wrap his head around why Antares insists on sending him here of all places. Suddenly, Leon stops Lin in his tracks. He firmly tells him to stay back, saying they had found their target. Meanwhile, right ahead was a massive, ugly fish, and on its head was a strange, glowing bulb, almost like a lantern. Without hesitation, the team drops to the ground and swiftly gets into their battle formation. Lin, hanging back at the rear, watches as Leon's whole demeanor changes. No more laughter, just pure focus. He loudly announces the start of the raid. The monster is quickly aggroed, and the glowing bulb on its head begins to shine brighter. 2 of the mages immediately launch control spells, but both fizzle out. They quickly realize that the creature is immune to control effects, which means they can't interrupt its casting. Lin, using his detection spell, identifies the ugly fish as Lantern Fire Fish, a level 83 boss with some nasty stats. Meanwhile, the bulb grows brighter and brighter until it suddenly explodes with a deafening blast. At the same time, a massive protective barrier forms around the team. Leon, veins popping, grits his teeth and shouts for the team to keep attacking. The mages begin chanting, and soon, massive tornadoes tear across the battlefield. Lin observes their flawless teamwork and concludes they've got this under control, and from the look of it, he probably doesn't need to jump in. Then, out of nowhere, a golden aura erupts in front of Leon. He slams his weapon down, sending a powerful strike straight into the creature's bulb, cutting it right off. He then turns back and sharply instructs the team to keep the thing out of the monster's reach. The boss, now weakening, starts to falter. Lin knows it's only a matter of time before it falls. However, his expression suddenly shifts, then warns everyone to be careful. Instinctively, they all glance up, but it is too late. A powerful spell comes flying straight at them and detonates right in the middle. The explosion throws them off, just long enough for the monster to snatch its bulb and run away. In a fraction of a second, the boss was already gone, disappearing into the distance before anyone could react. Everything happened too fast. Leon clenched his fists and commented that this was all Black Dragon Society's doing. He growls that they've just made a huge mistake. Above them, a group hovers in the air, One of the guys with a twisted grin casually announces what a shame it is. They almost had the boss, and then poof, gone. Probably gonna take them a while to find it again. Leon, clearly irritated, demands to know if they are declaring war. But the guy waves it off, calmly stating they have no plans for war. Instead, he chillingly clarifies, they're here to kill them all. Leon scoffs, then asserts that a bunch of nobodies like them aren't worth worrying about. But then, with a cold smirk, the guy pulls out a stone. He admits that on their own, they wouldn't stand a chance, then asks Leon what about this too. Leon is furious after finding out the guy was holding an abyssal stone. He roars at them for collaborating with the abyssal demons, spitting that they've betrayed the human race. The guy shrugs it off, explaining it's just a business deal, saying they get what they want, demons get what they want. Without another word, he crushes the stone. A vortex instantly tears open, and from it steps a succubus, none other than our old friend Mina. Lin, meanwhile, watching everything unfold, is slightly surprised to see her here. Leon glares at her and bluntly asks if they've all gone insane. After all, if even one of them escapes and brings word back to the human world, the entire Black Dragon Society would be wiped out. No one answers him. Instead, Mina tosses the group a flirtatious glance and playfully remarks that she'd never want to hurt her dear Leon. She claims she's only here to negotiate. Meanwhile, her charm ability floods the area. One by one, members of the team fall under her spell. Within moments, everyone except Leon stands dazed. Even Leon feels his blood heat up, but he grits his teeth, lets out a fierce battle cry, and slams his weapon into the ground. The impact roars through the air, snapping the others out of their trance. Gasping for breath, they blink in confusion, shaken by how easily they lost themselves. Mina sighs with admiration, declaring that Leon really lives up to his profession. She even purrs that she absolutely adores him. However, she quickly adds with mock regret that the rest of his group doesn't seem quite as sturdy. With a teasing breath, she exhales a wave of charm energy, and just like that, all of the men fall back into a trance. This time, it's worse, much worse. The team spirals into madness, completely losing themselves. Even Leon breaks into a cold sweat. He can feel her power battering his mind. If this continues, then he'll be reduced to her mindless puppet. But then, unexpectedly, Lin makes a move. Mina doesn't react at first. Honestly, she barely notices him. To her, a low-level nobody like that isn't even worth a glance. However, the moment she does recognize who it is, she gulps nervously. She then freezes, voice trembles as she stammers out, "Why is he here?" Lin, on the other hand, stays relaxed. He casually greets her, even throwing in a breezy, "Long time no see." Mina stares at him like she's seen a ghost. She awkwardly said the same thing, but the fear is clear on her face. After all, this is the guy who once took down a clone of the Flame Demon Lord. Fighting him was out of the question unless one of the Demon Lords shows up. With Lin stepping in, the pressure on the team drops instantly. Leon blinks in surprise, then asks if Lin knows her. Lin shrugs and casually remarks that they've met. He tells him that Mina tried to kill him back then, but it didn't go so well. Looking at her again, Lin raises an eyebrow and playfully asks if she wants to try again. Who knows, maybe this time she'll succeed. Mina panics, then waves her hands rapidly and backs away, practically begging. She swears she's just a harmless little succubus, and this is all a misunderstanding, and she would never have the thought of doing such a thing. But Lin just grins and replies that they won't know unless they try, right? Mina, of course, isn't that stupid. She knows full well she doesn't stand a chance against him now. All she wants is to get as far away as possible. Cursing the Black Dragon Society under her breath, she realizes they nearly got her killed. Frantically, she pulls out an abyssal stone. Biting her lip until it bleeds, she drops a few drops of blood onto its surface and crushes it. And she even began praying, hoping she could get the hell out of this place fast. A swirling vortex opens in front of her, and without wasting a second, it begins to pull her in. But just as she's about to vanish, a soul flame crashes down on her head, ringing a scream from the vortex before she disappeared. Lin sighs with mild regret, observing that she escaped rather quickly. Leon, meanwhile, was frozen in disbelief. A top-tier demon had bolted at the mere sight of Lin. Even the Black Dragon members, still groggy from her charm, woke only to find Mina gone. Meanwhile, rest of the Galen Guild staggered back to their senses. Lin returned to Leon's side and asked bluntly if he should just kill these scums. Leon declared that colluding with demons made them traitors, worthy of death. But then he hesitated. After all, that guy over there was the Guildmaster's son, who obviously had a soul imprint. Killing him here would mean nothing, and he'd just revive. Clearly, he's slightly worried about the retribution that might follow. Lin, meanwhile, asks him what if he can make sure that doesn't happen. Leon processes this for a moment, then slowly breaks into a cold grin. If that's the case, he remarks, then go ahead and kill them all. However, Lin stopped him, assuring him he'd handle it alone. The young brat, oblivious to their conversation, just sneered at the level 52 nobody stepping up. He still couldn't understand where Mina had gone, but he assumed Lin was walking to his own death. But our boy wasted no words and unleashed skeletal prison. Immediately, massive bone shackles snapped shut, locking every Black Dragon member in place. Shock spread across their faces as they realized they couldn't move. A gust of wind swept, and the next thing they saw was countless skeletons walking their way. If he's going to kill, then he's going to wipe them out completely. He activates mighty soldiers. Meanwhile, the skellies had them completely surrounded. Then, with a single command from Lin, they all surge forward at once.